This video is describing the Helix counterbalanced implementation trial design, first described by Mitchell-Sarkis et al. In the journal Implementation Science in 2019.
Research projects are used to generate evidence. Evidence should be used to guide practice. The process of changing practice in response to new evidence is called translation. There are many different approaches that we could take to try to translate evidence into practice. There are also many ways that evidence to guide practice can be generated. The most robust way to generate evidence about a particular practice and whether it is effective or not is to pull the results from randomized controlled trials, as these trial designs minimize the risk of biased results. Using this same logic, we could also be using randomized controlled trials to compare how effective and cost-effective different translation approaches are. So why have we not been doing this? Health services are commonly delivered by teams. Consequently, changing practice often requires the whole team to be involved. We refer to these teams as clusters. Clusters can be small, but can also be very large, entire health service organizations. The problem with trying to recruit large clusters into knowledge translation studies is that there may not be many of them that are able to be feasibly accessed. This can lead to small sample sizes in the research. Among these clusters, there may be some that are more ready for change than others and more likely to translate the evidence into practice. When this is combined with small sample sizes, there is a considerable risk that the groups we are comparing will be imbalanced in terms of their readiness for change. This may bias the results of our study, which is a considerable problem. In this paper, we have proposed that a solution to this problem can be found by using the Helix counterbalanced implementation design. This research design recognizes that there may be many different types of knowledge translation strategy that we may need to compare in our research. It also recognizes that different knowledge translation strategies, such as using guidelines or knowledge brokers, can be tested across different context areas, such as ways to prevent falls in hospitals or ways of delivering services to elderly people in the community. Let's take one of those context areas now and use it to examine some different strategies. It is useful to conceptualize this relationship between knowledge translation strategies and context areas in a couple of dimensions. Here, we are testing these three strategies in the red context. We could equally have tested these strategies in the green and yellow contexts. Doing so in separate studies would be quite resource and time intensive, however. What would be really useful is if these knowledge translation strategies could be tested across different context areas at the same time. We can achieve this using a Helix counterbalanced implementation design. Here, we recruit an organization represented by the blue ribbon and randomly allocate it to being simultaneously exposed to knowledge translation strategy A for the green context, strategy C for the yellow context, and strategy B for the red context. Other organizations that are recruited, represented by the other ribbons, are randomly allocated to other combinations of knowledge translation strategy and context. Using each possible combination in the random allocation balances out potential combination effects, which are similar to order effects in repeated measures designs. This design therefore requires that context be selected that are separate yet relevant to each of the organizations that have been recruited. We have had a go at using the Helix counterbalanced implementation design in one study at the time of making this video. Here, we recruited hospital-based health professionals, not organizations, as some context and knowledge translation strategies are relevant to individual level practice change. We exposed these health professionals to the knowledge translation strategies of a do-nothing control, providing them with a printed research paper, or providing them with an animated video summary of the same research. We did this across the context areas of promotion of physical activity after diagnosis of deep vein thrombosis, provision of written materials for the prevention of falls, and use of bed alarms for the prevention of falls. We found that providing the animated video summary was a much more preferred way for participants to receive this information and a more effective way to improve health professional understanding about the context areas involved. In light of this evidence, we decided to make this video.